Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about database management system. Before enter into that topic, so first we want to look on it. What is the earlier method? So what are all the drawbacks we faced in this? So that the first session, the file processing system, and then issues. What is meant by file processing system? It is a traditional method. So here all the files, that is the data, are stored in each and every file. So that access us in a single access. So because of that, what are all the issues we are facing? So the file processing system method, it's also called as a flat file system. So what is meant by flat file system in the sense? So here we can't able to maintain any relationship between one data with another. And also, so we can able to do the processing and then analysis. So only the data stored in the each and every file. So simply we can say it is a single access. There is no connections between one data with the another. Because of these things, we are facing the many issues in the file processing system. So these are the issues: data redundancy, inconsistency, limited data sharing, data dependency, lack of data integrity, limited security, concurrency control, scalability issues, and limited query capabilities. So now we can detailedly go through on each and every issues. Data redundancy. So what does mean by redundancy? So the repetition of the data. So the particular data, it may be repeated in a different files. So it having the several copies of the same database. For example, if I'm just maintaining the student data, so student personal information, it's a one file. So I'm just maintaining that student name and then department name, address, and phone number, etc. Similarly, I'm just maintaining the another file. So student academic performance, again their student name and then registration number and their marks and the etc. Again the department table, I'm going to maintain the student name and their personal information and they are which department, like that. So here the student information repeatedly it is having multiple times student table, personal table, and then department table. So because of these things, so what is the impact? So wastage of the storage space, and also we need to maintain many effort, and sometimes it's a risk of inconsistent data. So inconsistent data in the sense, so if by default, if we are just changing any data, or if we are just replacing any data one file, that needs to change in the another file also. If we have failed to do that, so the data inconsistency will happen. So due to the data redundancy, data inconsistency will come. For example, if I am just failing to update one data with another file. So in this example, so the financial table, the John salary is in 1,000, and again the human resource table, I just updated that salary at 2,000. So when I'm just taking the John salary, so now I can able to get the two different values. So I can't able to identify which one is right or wrong. So this is the data inconsistency due to data redundancy we are just facing in this. So the impact of this unreliable information, so potential for the errors will come. So difficulties in maintaining in the data integrities. The next issue, limited data sharing. So here the sharing the data, it's a very difficult. So each and every department it might maintain its own set of files. so they can't able to share with the another. So due to this, the collaboration is going to be reduced. So we can't able to maintain the data in a very efficient manner, so that the information retrieval is also going to be a big issue on that. Next one, data dependency. So defines the relationship between two or more attributes. It's a data dependency. For example, so the attributes, it may depends on one another. If you are just taking the student table, the age, it may be a depend on date of birth, and then CGPA, it may be a depends on marks. So for these things, the programs are often written to access the specific files directly. If the structure of the files are changing, so it may require to modifying all the programs using in that files. So due to this, the high maintenance cost is the inflexibility of the adapting to the changing the data structures. So and also it may risk of errors during the updations. The next one, data integrity. So that is a lack in the file system. Data integrity concept, it is a process of ensuring the organization data accuracy, completeness, consistency, and their validation. If all these things it's there, then it is called as data integrity. So in increasing the risk of entering the incorrect and then inconsistency data, so obviously the data integrity we can't able to maintain. So impact of these things, so the low quality of the data, increasing the chances of the errors, and then difficulty to maintaining the accuracy of the informations. And then a limited security. If we are just talking about the security, so we have to give the limited access. So often it's a limited security measures are there in the file system. So they can't able to control or typically a high risk of unauthorized access. So due to this, data breaches may happen. Unauthorized can able to modify their data, and then we need to compromise the system security. Concurrency control, it's a lack because the data sharing is not at all possible here. So due to that, the concurrency control is very difficult. So concurrency control is a management of two simultaneous processes to execute, but without affecting or conflict between the each other. So if the data is shared by three users, means so if any one user doing any analysis, that should not affect the others. So that is the mean of the concurrency control. So the file system processing, ensuring the concurrent access to by multiple users without conflicting, it's a huge challenge. So the file system may lack mechanism to handle the concurrency control. So due to this, we may get data corruptions, loss of updates, and also the challenges of to maintain the data consistency in the multi-user environment. The next one is the scalability issues. So scalable means, so whenever the data grows or shrink, the system can able to adapt to work on. So the volume should of data grows, the file system processing may struggle and to handle the large data set in efficient manners. So due to this, the performance is going to be very less. So the system performance is affecting, and then longer processing time, and also the challenges in the scaling system. Finally, the limited query capabilities. Query capabilities is a very limited. The file processing system often the lack of query languages. So the retrieving the specific information, it may be the very difficult. So inefficient data retrieval, and also it's increasing the complexity of generating the reports. So then extracting the meaningful information, it's also we are facing the challenges in this. So these are all the limitations of the file system processing, so that we are just moving for the DBMS. So what is the difference between the file system and then DBMS? So what are all the disadvantages we are just facing in the file system processing that it's going to be overcome by the database management system? So there is no redundancy, query processing is a very efficient, consistency we can able to maintain, the security is more, and then we can able to provide the sharing the data, and cost wise it is a little bit higher than the file system. Thank you.